Welcome to netfit.tv. We're here to help motivate and dedicate you to living a healthy and vibrant lifestyle. My name is Chelsea and I'll be leading today's session. On my left is Kim. She'll be working with level 1. On my right is Carl. He'll be working with level 3. And I'll be working with level 2. Today we're going to be working with being in the present moment. I am here, I am now. Let go of everything else. So the first posture we're going to be moving into is a kneeling lunge. When you're ready, go ahead and find your way up to tabletop position. Let's go ahead and face in this direction. So as we find tabletop position, we're going to step the right foot between the hands. Now, once the knee comes past the toes, you've gone too far and you're putting a little bit of stress in your knee. So be sure to stack your heel directly under your knee, finding that alignment. When you begin to sink into your hips, be sure you're breathing nice and full. Your shoulders can begin to press back, your heart gently pressing forward, a nice long spine as the crown reaches where the wall and the ceiling meet. Now, if you notice how the stretch is beginning on the front side of your left leg and the back side of your right leg, let's bring in a little counter pose. You can shift the weight back as you begin to straighten your forward leg. This first time, let's keep the toes pointed down and you can fold over your leg. Now, if you notice, my knee is not locked. It's nice and soft, and I want to even press my right hip back a little to bring a better alignment into the hips. Now, the next time I breathe in, I'm going to lift my head and my chest, bending my forward knee so that I can sink back into the hips. You can keep your hands right here if you're working with the modified version. You can bring your hands up to the upper thigh, relaxing the shoulders. If you want to go a little stronger, the hands can even come out to the sides. This is grace pose, or alongside of the ears. This is a kneeling warrior 1. Feel your abdominals engaged. Begin to open your chest just a little as the shoulders slide down away from the ears. Take an inhale across the heart. As you exhale, bring the hands back to the floor. Shifting the weight into the back knee. Straightening the forward leg, but this time pull the toes back toward the crown. Folding over the forward leg. Feel your crown press toward the toes. Again, pressing your right hip back just a little to even out your hips. Take a breath and see if you can soften along the back of that right leg. And then when you're ready, we're going to shift forward just enough to bring that right foot back into tabletop position. You can step your left foot forward between the hands, beginning to sink into the hips. I want to point out a few things as you're in the posture. As you're sinking into the hips, you'll notice that the front of the right leg is being stretched. This is your psoas muscle. The back of the left leg is being stretched, and this is part of your hamstring. You want to roll the shoulders open a bit as if you're pressing your heart forward, feeling the long line of energy coming out of the crown of the head. And then exhale the hips back, straightening the forward leg, folding over that forward leg. Now, as you're here, you're wanting to kind of parallel up your hips with the floor. So it's almost as if you're beginning to press your left hip back and the right hip forward just enough, finding that length and then really relaxing down. Let's inhale, lift the head and the chest. You can begin to sink back into the hips, finding that full range of flexibility within the body. And if you want to go a step further, the hands can lift out to the sides. They can even come all the way up, feeling how the shoulders slide down the back. Now, if you square up here and you're not really feeling the stretch where the heart isn't open toward the sky, and then you're feeling the length within the back of the right leg, the left leg, then maybe you sink a little more into the hips. Take a deep breath across your chest. Exhale, folding down over the forward leg, bringing the hands to the floor. Shifting the weight back, and this time you can pull the toes back toward the crown as you fold over. Finding that nice flat space in the sacral area, stretching the crown toward the toes. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, stepping that forward foot back. All right, we're going to be moving into another posture. It's called downward facing dog. This is one of my favorite postures to do. So if you notice, you're here in tabletop position. Your middle finger is pointing forward. You're going to tuck your toes under. As you breathe in, use your core to lift your hips up as high as they'll go toward the sky. Now bend your knees a lot. Shift the weight back so that your ears are in between the arms and you're looking at your knees. Then you can begin to press your heels down toward the floor. You feel your fingertips grounded, not just the heels of the hands. And it's as if you're pressing your tailbone just a little higher without sinking into the shoulders, finding that nice space within the spine. And are you breathing? Take 2 more deep breath cycles. And this next time you exhale, you can bring the knees down to the floor, dropping back into the child's pose and completely relaxing. Now I'm going to have Kim modify her downward dog just a little in something called a puppy stretch. If you ever have any shoulder issues or wrist issues, this is a great modification to go into. So it's just like tabletop position, but you walk your hands forward, keeping the hips high. So let's move into the posture. We're going to first come into tabletop position. And then if you're moving into down dog, you're going to tuck the toes under. As you breathe in, you'll lift the hips really high. Kim will begin to bring her heart down toward the floor, walking the fingers toward the top of the mat. Be sure your knees are soft if you're in down dog. You're softly gazing at the knees, and you can begin to press the heels down. Now, while you're in this pose, in downward dog, you want to find a nice length all the way up through the spine. It does not matter whether the heels are touching the floor or not, but you do want to feel the fingertips grounded, not just the heels of the hands, breathing deeply. Kim looks really good over here as she finds that same length with the back. She's finding that stretch through the arms, but it's not as intense on the wrists and on the shoulders. Go ahead and take an inhale wherever you are. You're doing a great job. And then as you exhale, you can come all the way down into child's pose. And then just completely relax, whether the arms are at your sides, whether they're under the forehead, or whether they're extended along the floor, and you can even rock a little side to side. We're going to visit downward facing dog again, but let's change that kneeling lunge we were in earlier. So as you come to tabletop position, step your right foot between the hands. There you go. You can sink into the hips just enough so that you begin to feel the stretch, and then your back toes tuck under. As you breathe in, use the core to lift that back knee away from the floor. You're pressing the knee toward the sky. The forward knee is stacked directly over the heel. Your shoulders are rolled open as you softly gaze toward the wall in front of you. You're pressing your back heel toward the wall behind you. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, bring that back knee down, stepping the forward foot back into tabletop position. Let's do the other side. Stepping your left foot forward, sinking into the hips just a little, tucking your back toes under. And as you breathe in, you can lift the back knee away from the floor. Notice that the knee starts to come out. You want it stacked directly over the heel. And a few things that you can notice within the stretch is this hamstring is stretching all the way through, reaching through the heel. Your shoulders are rolling open and you're extending through the spine. You can even go a step further by lifting the hands away from the floor. Find your stability. Lifting the chest, and the arms can even come alongside of the ears into this warrior one pose. The heart is open. I won't leave you here long. Take one inhale, and as you exhale, bring the hands back to the floor. Step your forward foot back as that back knee comes down, and back into tabletop position. Great transition. Let's go ahead and relax back into a child's pose, rocking a little side to side. And then we're going to try it just one more time, but not going quite as deep. So let's step that right foot forward between the hands. And instead of sinking into the hips, let's first tuck those back toes under, lifting that back knee away from the floor, and just hop that back foot forward a little. You can even turn that heel down if it helps with balance. When you're ready, you can bring the hands up to the forward thigh. Find your stability here. Engage that core. And if you want the hands to come out to the sides or even overhead, stay here, taking 2 more deep breaths. If you ever find that the body is just a little out of balance, you can step that back foot a little closer toward the opposite edge of the mat. Inhale, opening the chest. Exhale, bringing the hands down to the floor. Let's go ahead and bend that back knee, bringing it down, stepping the back foot, or the forward foot back. There you go. Let's step that left foot forward between the hands, and then we're going to tuck the back toes under, lifting the back knee away. Now hopping that foot forward just a little so that you can turn the heel down. Using your core, you can bring the hands up to the thigh, out to the sides, or even alongside of your ears, warrior one. Squeeze the abdominals in. Your hips are square to the front. The shoulders are relaxed. The heart is open. This is creating a gentle back arch, building and strengthening the legs, finding flexibility in the spine, and giving the body confidence. Take an inhale. Exhale the hands down to the floor. Bring that back knee down. Step the foot back. Tabletop position. Let's visit downward facing dog again. Tuck your back toes under. Squeezing the abdominals in as you breathe in. Lift the hips really high. You're up on your tiptoes. Beginning to shift the weight back with the knees soft. Your ears are in between the arms, and then you can begin to press the heels down. Now something called walking the dog. You can alternate pressing opposite heels down, or you can press them both down at the same time, feeling the fingertips grounded. Now if you're too wide in the pose, it's a little hard on the body. You're not getting the length that you need. If you're too close in the body, it's more of a forward bend. So you find that place where it brings a stretch into the backs of the legs, strength into the arms. You're massaging your digestive system, and you're finding length with the back. And most of all, this is an inversion. It's bringing the blood flow back to the brain, back to the heart. Take an inhale, and then exhale, bringing the knees down, and you can drop back into the child's pose and completely relax. Take a moment here to notice how you feel, where the body is, and how the breath is within the body. Again, nothing else matters but this present moment. Never pushing past your edge within each moment you go into. Observe what the body is telling you. This is how you're creating that relationship with yourself. So let's try a seated twist. You can come to a comfortable seated position, and this posture works a little better when your heels are just a little further away from the body. The ankles and the knees don't have to be touching, but they can. So as you roll to the front sides of your sitting bones, sitting up tall, drawing the shoulders down the back, the natural curve of the spine. Let's bring the left hand to the right knee. And then as you breathe in, lifting the right arm in front of you, sweeping it around behind the back, fingers close to the spine and the buttocks, a soft elbow. Breathe in again. And as you exhale, begin twisting toward the right side. You can adjust the left arm on the right knee as needed. See if you can find length. If you've pushed too far, your muscles begin to strain themselves. So inhale, find length. Exhale, let's slowly unwind back to center, sweeping that right hand all the way to the left knee. Sweep that left hand behind the back, fingertips close to the spine and the buttocks. Inhale, stretch up through the spine. Exhale, beginning to twist, one vertebra at a time without pushing, noticing a nice full breath cycle within the pose. Go ahead and take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly unwinding back to center. And go ahead and fold over the legs. This is a nice restorative place to go to. You know that you can stop any time that you're in a practice, especially to gather that place in the mind where you need to be and letting go of all of those distracting thoughts. They come in, they come out, and instead of trying to force them away, just redirect your attention back to the breath and relaxing. All right, we're gonna transition back up to standing, so you can pull your heels back in toward your body. You can rock forward into that little squat, maybe stretching the arches of the feet, the calves, the shins. And when you're ready, we're gonna lift the hips into the forward bend, waiting for the inhale to lead with your chest. Let's come all the way up into mountain pose. Let the palms come together and down to your heart, and you can step toward the top side of your mat. We're going to be moving into our first true balance. This is a standing thigh stretch moving into dancer's pose. If you ever want to use a chair, please make sure that you have it nice and sturdy in front of you. And if you don't want to go quite as deep, you know that you can pull back. So you'll also find that you balance better on one foot than on the other. And just notice, observe what happens. So with your hands at your heart center, the knees are soft, never locking the knees. Begin to shift the weight over to the left foot. Let's first exhale that right knee in toward the chest. Squeeze it in. Slide the right hand down to the right ankle, turning the right knee to face the floor. You can inhale the left hand toward the sky. Now, if you don't want to go any further than this, then hang out right here and breathe. If you'd like to go a little further, you can soften the standing knee a little more, beginning to hinge. Keep your heart open, and maybe you move your back heel away from your buttocks. That left hand can stay alongside of the ear. It can be, whoa, parallel with the floor. Notice when you start to rock a little side to side. That's where you begin to feel the big toe, the little toe, and the heel ground like roots into the earth. And you begin to find your stability. As you breathe in, use the core to come all the way back up to standing. Can that knee come toward the chest? And then down to the floor. Bring the hands back to the heart. And smile. Smiling changes the whole emotional makeup of the body. When we get frustrated, then we don't go anywhere. So let's begin to shift the weight slowly over toward the right foot. Softening that standing knee. Exhale the left knee in toward the chest, squeezing it in gently. Sliding the hand down to the ankle, turning the knee to face the floor. You can inhale the right hand toward the sky. And as you exhale, you can begin to hinge. If you want that heel to move away from the buttocks, you can. If you want the arm to be parallel with the floor, you can. 2 deep breaths. When you're ready, you can inhale back up to standing. Bring the knee in toward the chest, the foot to the floor, palms to the heart. And just observe. Has the heat risen in your body? How about your pulse, your heart rate? And allowing the breath to be nice and full. And then you'll begin to notice you can't think of anything else when you're in a balance besides the balance. When your mind strays off, you begin to lose where you are. So we're going to go ahead and make our way down to the back, so you can come down gently, bending the knees, bringing the hips to the floor. And let's go ahead and roll on back. We're going to move into some leg extensions. So as your back comes down to the floor, bring your knees in toward the chest. When you find this place of the knees tucked in, you can wrap your arms around the knees. You can even bring the forehead toward the knees and rock a little. This is a great spinal release or a sacral massage. Go ahead and release the head back to the floor. Let the soles of the feet come down to the floor and the arms at your sides. As you breathe in, you can extend your right leg toward the sky. Now, as you're here, the heel is reaching up, the toes are pointing back toward the chin. If you're working with more strength, the arms can come alongside of the ears. So let me get you to bring your arms back alongside of your hips. And if you're working a little gentler, you can even grab behind the extended leg. There you go, breathing as you extend up, finding this place. Inhale. And as you exhale, bringing that knee or the knee in toward the chest and then the foot to the floor. There you go. So you're moving very mindfully as you come in and out of this pose. Whatever you do on one side, you want to do on the other. So let's inhale that left heel toward the sky, stretching it all the way up. Again, you can hold behind the leg. You can even use a strap over the arches of the feet if you would like. The toes are pointing back toward the chin. The arms can be alongside of your ears as you find the strength as core is engaged. Breathe in, stretch up. Exhale and lower that foot to the floor. Wonderful. Let's do each side one more time. Inhaling that right heel up. You can stay for 2 deep breath cycles. And then you can exhale when you're ready, the foot to the floor. Noticing the movement, the synchronicity as that foot comes down, the arms release, inhaling the left heel up. Finding that extension. Notice if you're holding your breath. Breathe nice and full. 2 breaths, stretching all the way up through the back of the leg. And then when you're ready to release, you can always lower that foot all the way down. Let's try both legs this time. Inhaling, extending both heels toward the sky. Coral has both arms alongside of the ears. Kim is holding behind the thighs. Either way, you're pulling the toes back toward the chin and you're pressing the heels up. Now what if you go ahead and point the toes? It just changes the stretch on the fronts of the legs. Again, reach through the heels. Very good. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, bringing the feet to the floor, arms alongside of the hips. And then you can extend the legs along the floor. There you go. And now here's another modification you can do. So Kim, I'm going to place this chair under your legs. There you go. Perfect. And this is another great place that you can go to for Shavasana or for conscious relaxation. Let your hands face the ceiling. The shoulders are relaxed. The eyes can be closed. If you have an eye pillow or a strap here, you can always place it over the eyes. It helps to deepen conscious relaxation. So as you find this place, letting go of thoughts, letting go of distractions, and just allowing the body to sink into the earth, letting go. Focus on your exhale. Present moment. Wonderful moment. I am here. I am now. And when you're ready, you can begin wiggling the fingers, circling the wrists. You can wiggle the toes and circle the ankles. Take your time coming into a little tuck, rocking a little side to side, making your way back up to a comfortable seated position. When you find this place with the spine nice and lengthened, begin to bring your attention back inside. Observe, but without judgment. Thank you so much for coming and practicing today. Have a wonderful day in the present moment. Namaste.